In conversation with Salene Hills. Salene Hills is a freelance writer and journalist. She currently resides in Indianapolis, Indiana. Salene started writing only short stories when she was 11 years old. Her inspiration for writing creative pieces of literature came from her late father, Isaiah. When Salin was a teenager, both she and Isaiah loved to read suspense and horror paperback books. Today, Salin writes a wide range of fiction, nonfiction, poetry, mysteries, science fiction, horror, and self-help books. She has published 10 books in the last 2 years. When Salin is not writing or content strategizing with a book character, she's hanging out with her daughter and pets, traveling, hiking, conducting life coaching calls with clients, reading a self-help book, or binge watching the latest true crime shows or psychological thrillers. Currently, Salin is writing a science fiction novella. And on today's episode of Author Interview, it's my utmost pleasure and joy to have on the show today, Salin Hills. How are you doing, Salin?
I'm doing great, Peter. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing very fine too. And it's lovely to have you on the show today. Quite exciting. We're going to be having a conversation around your work.
Great.
Absolutely.
It is exciting.
Yeah. So, Silent, I see that you have a large collection of works out there, and I would like us to start today's interview with one of your titles in the name of Beneath the Grey Matter. And I'd love to ask you, how does this book come about? What inspired the making of Beneath the Grey Matter?
Yes, I started writing Beneath the Gray Matter at least in 2020, but with
Oh.
COVID, I slowed down, and I had my father, which I said was my inspiration for writing.
Mm.
He passed in 2018, so I
Oh.
slowed down a little bit on writing. I did not pick up the writing about Beneath the Gray Matter to 2022. Um, of course, I am a mystery writer, um, and about mystery, I just love a different type of, themes, characters. And
Mm.
so this book, Beneath Gray Matter, is a lot of combinations of different stories. Who also gave me the idea of that story was my daughter. She's about to be 29. Her name is Ashley.
Oh.
And yeah, we both, besides my father, we both love mystery, science fiction, and horror. And this book is more so, like I said, a combination of different mysteries. I also
Mm.
threw a romance in there, but it's supposed to be a different take on it. But I decided just to keep it like in a sort of a genre to surprise people, truthfully.
Mm.
And with Beneath the Gray Matter, it's different stories of what's going on between 2020 and 2022.
Mm.
And especially the first one, I think it's called Dislogic. That's the first like combination short story in that book. And it's more so about small towns because I come from a very small town in Alabama. And what I do with that book, I combine a lot of different characters I knew or know
Mm.
presently. And of course, I put it in a fictional conversation for the book. And it just it's like a play on character, a play on
Mm.
mystery or psychological horror. That's what that book is all about.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
that's a lot.
That's actually a lot, and I love the sound of it. Sounds quite beautiful and quite captivating to me. So thank you for sharing. And if you have a copy of Beneath the Grey Matter there, I would love you to show to the camera
Yes, I
just
don't
so
know
we
if
can
people
see
can
what it
see
looks like.
that.
Yeah, yeah, I can see now. Beautiful. I love the
Yes.
ash, color nature of the cover. To talk about the cover and how the title came to be.
Well, okay, like the book is called Beneath the Gray Matter.
Yeah,
So, of course, with the different colors, the blacks, the whites, there we go, fading out there,
yeah,
and
yeah.
grays. Um, of course, like besides mystery and horror, I love like natural science. That one of my favorite topics in
Interesting.
school, besides, of course, English literature history.
Mm.
So also I incorporate like fictional and nonfictional, I'm talking about a person's brain and how they use the
Mm.
brain. So it's a different type of mystery going on with this book.
Oh, sounds great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
You're
I love the
welcome.
sound of it. Thank you. Now, Silent, judging from your literary works, I would like to ask you, at what point in time did you decide to be an author, and what was your path to publication? Would you like to talk about that?
Sure. Like I said in my bio, I started really writing like 10 pages, 20 pages, little short themes and
Mm.
stories when I was 10 and 11. And my father, Azil, he was an inspiration for writing. I remember that my grammar was not correct at all. Of course, who knows, about 10 years old, 11 years old back then. And
Oh.
he did like, I would say now, constructive criticism. I honestly thought he was being mean, I guess any child would. And he corrected my grammar, especially my writing. And I
Mm.
told him that I love writing books. And he told me to keep a journal. So after that, I just continued to write books. And I started, like I said, 10. And then when I was 19 years old, I started writing a lot of poetry collections and a lot of
Mm.
different essays. And and for publication, I didn't really get a lot of things published, of course, when I was younger. But as I got older, I kept on getting like different college degrees in like English journalism, business, anything to help my writing, especially for publishing. And I
Yeah.
decided to publish because I had written so much over the years.
Mm. Wow, I love your take on this, really. Sounds quite great and very lovely and quite captivating to me too. So thank you. Thank you for sharing. I love the sound of
Well,
it. Yeah. And also, Silent, one of your books is titled Once Upon a Cloud. And I want to say that I love the title for a book cover. So it sounds quite
okay.
beautiful. Once Upon a Cloud, it sounds quite metaphorical in nature. That's a beautiful title, really. I need to commend that. Now, for readers who haven't read it yet, and without giving much information away, could we have a sneak of what we'd expect in terms of themes picking up Once Upon a Cloud?
That I would say for not giving the whole thing away before
Yeah.
someone read it. It's more so of a poem, a poetry book, it's a poetry book collection, and just
Oh.
different quotes. And it's about present events, or maybe 2 years ago events, and also about my life as I got older in age. And
Mm.
honestly, that's about it. So I don't give everything away. Yeah,
Yeah, I love that. And to know it's a poetry collection sounds quite great too. And now let's talk about inspirations and ideas. I've always been surprised about how writers craft long sentences and bring words together in a way that it eventually makes a great book. And this always leaves me thinking how exactly they got their ideas and inspiration. Now, as far as writing is concerned, I would love to ask you too, how do you get your inspirations and ideas? Where did they come from?
my books are like totally a lot of different genres.
Yeah.
So the imagination you have to have. With my imagination is pretty it's pretty diverse. It's pretty different, and I try not to bore myself with my writing nor bore my readers, truthfully. So I try to write something different all the time.
Mm,
With me, there's not really it's a structure, of course, for writing, but I just don't try to limit myself with what I write.
yeah.
Um, yes, and I notice if I try to limit myself with what I write or try to just stick with something, I get bored. And I've left stories before just sitting and come back
Yeah.
years later. So
Yeah.
yes,
That's great. That's lovely. Quite lovely, actually, to get to know how your inspirations and ideas come to be. That's beautiful to know. Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
you're welcome.
That's beautiful now. And now, would you like to tell us what you enjoy most about writing? I know so many people, so many writers have a certain part of writing that they enjoy or certain things that they love about writing. And I'd like you to share with us, what do you enjoy most about writing? Also, Is there anything that you would like people to take away from your books?
Um, I enjoy writing, honestly. Um, Helps me to calm down if I'm having a stressful day.
Yeah.
It's like a written meditation. And it also, I mean, of course, we're in a world where we have to think certain things, or especially
Yeah.
when in a professional world or in
Yeah.
a motherly world, so that honestly gets right. That gets me away. That helped me to get away from like maybe the mundane or the
Yeah.
everyday thing. And
Absolutely.
right, and and the thing about it also, the mental creativity. You can reach a
Mm,
lot of heights with writing.
yeah.
Uh, Right. And I was going to say for other people that, about writing or want to know about my writing,
Yeah.
if you have creativity, I would say just keep with it, whether you are an artist or a writer. And a
Yeah.
writer, it's very inspirational. It's very
Mm,
helpful.
yeah.
And it also work with aging, keeps blood
Mm,
pressure down, keeps stress down. So yes,
yeah. Thank you for this, really. I love the sound of it. Thank you. Thank you for mentioning. And now,
welcome.
Salin, apart from the books we've mentioned thus far, do you have any other works you've authored or say currently working on?
Yes, I just published a book called The Snuggers Chronicle. I wrote a book
Oh,
um, probably about a year ago about a certain hermit. So I brought that back like a trilogy talking about his family, and it was just published 3 days ago. It's not on
wow.
Amazon, but it's with Barnes and Nobles right now.
Oh,
Books a Million. Mhm.
oh, that's beautiful, really. That's great to know. That's amazing to know. And now, could you tell us what publishing is like for a published author like yourself? Are there any challenges you've encountered in the process of writing your books and also ever since it got published?
Yes, well, in the last 2 years or three, I've had a lot of challenges with publishing my book.
Mm,
Um, I honestly considered just at first working with Amazon, I guess the Kindle Direct Publishing.
yeah.
And then I just decided to branch out with other publishers. And I don't have that many at all reviews, truthfully,
Mm,
especially on Amazon. But
yeah.
I have a lot of people that really, especially throughout national and international now, and they respond to my book, or they just email or call. And I would say the first thing was being denied by maybe two publishers. That was more so a
Oh,
challenge at first. But, right, I decided to take it as it came. It was okay. And I
yeah.
told myself that wasn't the last thing that would happen. And it also come with patience. That was a bigger challenge for me,
Absolutely.
honestly.
Mm,
Yes. And that was about it. Just like it's a first time rejection, and one or two times after that, there was no more rejection for my book.
mm,
And also talking to people about like in book signing events, talking to people first time about your book, getting an interest in the book, and that can be a big challenge for publishing your book and
that's
marketing your
true.
book.
That's true.
Mhm.
That's amazing, actually. And I can relate to all of this you've said about your writing and books. Sounds quite great to me, really. So
Right.
thank you. Thank you for
Yes,
mentioning.
you're welcome.
Yeah, and also I would love to seek your advice just in case we have some yet to be or soon to be authors who are currently watching this interview and are looking forward to word of advice from a published author like yourself. What would you tell people who are still struggling with writing and publishing a book? What advice would you give people in this category?
Tell them no matter what happened with your publishing your books, and
Yeah.
honestly, your book is a work of art, like most things are, especially if it's a hobby with a professional, or went from a hobby to a profession, and
Mm,
to keep moving forward with your writing, no matter the rejections.
yeah.
Always read. I didn't when I started writing, I didn't read enough, so I just started back reading. And of course, like I
Mm,
said in the bio, one of my favorite authors is Stephen King and James Patterson. So I,
beautiful.
I read James Patterson. Yes, I read him ritually. So
Yeah, I understand that. How important is it to read as writers? Because it help alongside the craft. you know. Yeah,
Yes.
tip alongside a craft. Yeah, thank you, Silent. Before we call it a day today, do you have any other things you would love to share with the viewers about your books that we did not mention in this interview and you'd love the viewers to know?
I also, every now and then with my fiction, I sort of combine nonfiction. One of my books called The Songs of the South. Like I said, I'm originally from Alabama.
Yeah,
So I published that book I believe, in November of this year. Well, excuse me, last year or December last year.
yeah.
And that book is talking about my childhood between 1970s and 80s. So
Oh,
yes, I publish nonfiction and life stories or other people's life book.
mm, that's great. That's amazing. And just in case we have some viewers who are currently watching this interview, I would love to get a copy of any of your books. On what platform are they available on for purchase?
They're on Draft to Digital. That's, of course, more so in ebooks. And they're also on Barnes and Nobles and online on Books a Millions. And what they can do is go in and type in my name. I also have a website called Books on a Go.
Mm.
They can look me up, type my name in, look that up, and all of my books are there for ebooks.
Yeah, that's great. And I left a link in the description part of this interview where interested viewers can get a copy of Salene Hill's books directly on the mentioned platforms. So thank you so much, Salene, for accepting the invitation to be featured on P English Literature. It's awesome having this conversation with you.
Thank you also. You have a nice evening.
Yeah, thank you. It's my pleasure as well. It's quite fun.